World War II, Germany's navy found itself far outnumbered by that of its rival, Great Britain. To make up for the differences in numbers, Germany relied heavily on U-boats to counter the British threat. Known as the Battle of the Atlantic, Germany's U-boat fleet competed for dominance over the shipping lanes that were vital for the survival of Great Britain. The Battle of the Atlantic was the longest single struggle during World War II, lasting from 1939 to the end of 1943. What exactly is a U-boat? Well, let's take a look. It's known as a Type 7, and Germany mass-produced these submarines during World War II. This made the majority of their submarine fleet. So starting in the aft or back of the submarine, we have a couple features in the rear room: a single shot torpedo and 2 air compressors. One nearest to us is operated by diesel fuel, and the one on the far side is an electric compressor. Compressors were used to compress air into holding tanks to blow water out of the submarine's dive tanks to make it buoyant. Also in this room, by the way, you cannot see the electric engine that is here, but there is a twin electric engine on the far side, which again would be used underwater after the submarine has dived. And then we have 2 diesel engines, and these were the primary source of power for the U-boats. Typically, U-boats spent the majority of their time on the surface and only dived for attacks or escapes. Moving into the galley or the kitchen of the submarine, we can see it's very small. Most U-boats had 3 burner stoves and 1 cook. And this person's job was to literally feed upwards of 50 people 3 meals a day in literally a kitchen that's about the size of a closet. So you could imagine how difficult that was. Moving on to the next room, we have the crew quarters, and we see stacks of bunk beds. And this is an interesting aspect. U-boat sailors would do something called hot bunk, which means as one man would be getting up to do his shift, another man would be getting into that very bed, still wet and still smelly from the person before. Mind you, these men did not take showers for weeks at a time, so you could imagine the stench that one would be laying in as they tried to sleep. Here we have the command or control room. This is the main brain or the central hub of the submarine. In this room we had navigation charts on the back side and pillage pump to remove any water that would potentially seep into the submarine. And on the near side we have dive valves and depth steering stations. These would operate the fins on the outside of the submarine and help it to dive or hold a steady depth. Slightly forward on the bulkhead or wall, we have the helm station. At the helm station, a sailor would control the speed of the engine as well as the direction of the submarine and steerage. Moving to the next room, we have the radio room. And the radio room is basically what it suggests. You could send and receive electronic messages with command and receive orders. And just forward of the radio room is the sonar room. And the sonar room served as the ears and eyes of the submarine when submerged or underwater. Moving forward of that, we have the officers' cabins. Not much better than the crew cabin. After all these men were in this boat together. And lastly, we have the forward torpedo room. This would also double as a crew cabin if needed. We can see the bunks are stacked on the far ceiling, and on the near side we actually have a couple men laying down. Most importantly in this room is the 4 forward torpedoes This was the primary weapon of the submarine, and this is where the submarine's torpedoes would be loaded into chambers and fired at enemy ships. Germany relied on a central command to coordinate the efforts of its U-boats that were out on patrol. At the top of this command was a man by the name of Admiral Karl Dönitz. Karl Dönitz was the mastermind behind the success and eventual failure of Germany's U-boat fleet during World War II. Before World War I, Dönitz enlisted in Germany's Navy, where he secured the rank of captain aboard U-boat 68. During World War I, Dönitz's U-boat was sunk by British forces. He was captured and held in an Allied POW camp or prisoner of war camp throughout the remainder of World War I. It was during his time as a POW that Karl Dönitz developed the tactic for U-boat warfare known as the wolf pack. As the name of this tactic suggests, similar to an actual wolf pack, Dönitz wanted Germany's U-boats to hunt and attack Allied convoys in packs or groups. The wolf pack would look and operate something like this. U-boats would be stationed miles apart during their patrol. When one U-boat detected an enemy convoy, they would radio the other submarines that were nearby. The U-boats would then gather and stalk the convoy. Typically, wolf packs would wait until darkness fell, until launching their attack. These attacks could last anywhere from hours till days, and were generally kept up until all of the ships were sunk or all of the torpedoes were gone. Karl Dönitz also identified the merchant ship, which typically carried food and supplies for the British war effort, as the proper target for U-boats. Dönitz believed it was more efficient to target merchant ships opposed to enemy ships of war. Using Dönitz's Wolfpack tactics in combination with the selective targeting of merchant ships, Germany's U-boat fleet brought the British Empire to its knees from 1939 to 1943, when it became clear that Germany's U-boats would not succeed. Due to technological advancements made by the Allied powers and the breaking of the German Enigma codes, which were used by Germany to communicate with its U-boats, Allied forces were able to locate and sink roughly 3 out of every 4 U-boats in the German fleet. Other advances in Allied technology that helped win the Battle of the Atlantic also spanned to the arena of radio transmission triangulation. Known as Huff-Duff, this allowed Allied forces to pinpoint German submarines each time they made a radio transmission from the surface. Advancements in radar also helped Allied forces to find U-boats each time they raised their periscope. By the end of World War II, Germany had lost over 700 of its U-boats,